Well, hello. Does that sound creepy? Welcome to my channel. My name is Caro, and I'm actually quite new to this. I haven't made any of my own ASMR yet. I actually discovered ASMR a couple of months ago, and I discovered that it was really helping me sleep, and that I really like um, listening to stories. But I kind of ran out of stories, so I figured it might be a good idea to start making a few of my own. So tonight I want to read you guys some of my favorite stories. And I decided to start with this. I don't know if you can see it. It's called Fairy Tales and Fantastic Stories by Terry Jones. And I don't know if you know who Terry Jones is. He's one of the members of Monty Python, so that kind of already makes it really cool. And actually, my mum used to read us these stories when I was really little. I have really good memories of just like sitting on the couch next to my mum with my brothers. I have three brothers, and she'd read us stories, and she'd do all the voices and everything. And this book's really cool because it has really short stories. Some are only a few paragraphs, some are a couple of pages, and they're the kind of stories that are really fun for kids, but they always have some underlying message or some hidden jokes that only the adults would understand. And that's what I really like about it. So that's what makes this book um, really awesome. So I thought I'd just start with, I don't know, one or two stories. We'll see how far we get. And I'll try to show you the pictures as well because they're really brilliant. So let's get started. So, you can see this picture here. Hang on. Oops. I don't know if you can see it. It's a picture of what looks like a tiger, but I have no clue what he's doing. He looks like he's falling. I think that's the story where he dreams that he's flying. I don't know. I haven't read this book in years, like I think maybe 20 years. So I kind of have a basic idea of what the stories were, but this is going to be a bit nostalgic for me too. Okay, so the first story is called The Corn Dolly. And you can see a little picture of a farmer cutting the corn. Doesn't really look like corn, but okay. Let's just assume that it's corn. A farmer was cutting his corn when he thought he could hear someone crying far away. Well, he kept on cutting the corn, and the crying got louder and louder until he had only one more shock of corn to cut. And it seemed as if the crying was coming right from it. So he peered into the last bit of corn, and sure enough, there was a little creature made of cornstalks, sitting sobbing its heart out. "What's the matter with you?" asked the farmer. The little creature looked up and said, "You don't care," and went on crying. The farmer was a kindly man, so he said, "Tell me what your trouble is, and perhaps there's something I can do." "You farmers don't care what happened to us corn dollies," said the creature. "Now, The farmer had never seen a corn dolly before, so he said, "What makes you think that?" The corn dolly looked up and said, "We live in the standing corn. We keep it safe. We do no harm to anyone. And yet, every year, you farmers come with your sharp scythes and cut down the corn and leave us poor corn dollies homeless." The farmer replied, "We have to cut the corn to make the flour, to make the bread we eat. And even if we didn't cut it, the corn would wither away in the autumn, and you corn dollies would still be homeless." But the corn dolly burst into tears again and said, "Just because we're small and made out of straw, you think you can treat us anyhow and leave us with nowhere to live in the cold winter." And you can see a picture here of a gigantic farmer's boot and the corn dolly sitting in the corner. The farmer said, "I'll find somewhere for you to live." And he picked up the corn dolly and took it to the barn and said, "Look, you can live here and be snug and warm all through the winter." But the corn dolly said, "You live in a fine house made of stone. But just because us corn dollies are small and made of straw, you don't think we're good enough to live in a proper house." The farmer said, "Not at all." And he picked up the corn dolly and carried it into his house and set it on the windowsill in the kitchen. "There," he said, "you can live there." But the corn dolly scowled and said, "Just because we're small and made out of straw, you think we're not good enough to sit with you and your wife." The farmer said, "Not at all." And he picked up the corn dolly and carried it to the fireside. And he pulled up a chair and sat the corn dolly down between himself and his wife. But still, the corn dolly wasn't happy. "What's the matter now?" asked the farmer. "Just because we're small and made out of straw," said the corn dolly, "you've sat me on a hard chair while you and your wife sit in soft chairs." "Not at all," said the farmer, and he gave the corn dolly a soft chair. But still, the corn dolly wasn't happy. "Is there something still the matter?" asked the farmer. "Yeah," said the corn dolly. "Just because I'm small and only made of straw, you've sat me over here while you and your wife sit next to the fire and keep nice and warm." And the farmer said, "Not at all. You can sit wherever you like." And he picked the corn dolly up and put it next to the fire. And just then a spark flew out of the fire and landed on the corn dolly. And because it was only made of straw, it burst into flames. And because it was only very small, it was all gone before the farmer or his wife could do anything to save it. The end. See what I mean? So the moral of the story is, I'm not going to do that. I have no clue. I'm sure there's a lot in there. I think my mum would have told us that story when something was going on and she thought it would teach us a lesson. Something about complaining, I don't know. But I can see that my camera is about to quit. So I'm going to quit for now. And let me know in the comments if you like the story and if you'd like to hear more. And if you have any other ideas, I'd love to hear it. Good night.